Welcome back to another rapid review with the Gifted Academics team in preparation for your CISSN exam. If you like the information that we've been discussing in these videos, go ahead and click the links down below to learn more about our certification prep resources. It's not just the CISSN, if you're studying to become a certified sports nutritionist now, but you've also got your sights set on maybe becoming a strength coach or a certified personal trainer. You can take advantage of those resources, learn about our academic team, our curriculum, our mission statement, and go from 0 to certified in as little as 10 weeks with, as of recording this, a 100% pass rate. Let's jump in on today's topic. Today's topic comes from Chapter 6 of the ISSN textbook. We're going to be learning about nutrient timing. So nutrient timing is one of those topics that, like a lot of things, makes its way from the sport world and it kind of trickles down into lifestyle clients. So if you are currently a nutritionist or you do some nutrition coaching, maybe you're just a personal trainer, I'm sure that your clients, maybe individuals in your life that are also health, fitness, performance, exercise conscious, have asked you about nutrient timing. So let's get into it today. We're going to be talking about mostly in athletes. I'll throw in some Gen Pop tidbits as we go there. So the first thing to consider is going to be timing of the most important nutrient around training, which is going to be your carbohydrates, your main fuel source at most exercise intensities. Also talk about how to build a pre-training meal, some intra-workout nutrition, some myths there, and then general recommendations for carbohydrate, protein, and fat splits. So who that works for and who maybe it falls short for in terms of, again, Gen Pop for versus athletes. So first things first, what are the nutrients that we're actually talking about timing? Largely, we're talking about carbohydrates, but we also have to consider things like protein and fat and fiber. So just going macronutrient by macronutrient there in terms of nutrient timing throughout the day, what the ISSN wants you to know is for protein, we want to have equal servings of protein throughout the day. So preferably 20 to 40 grams of high quality protein, meaning that it has all of the amino acids necessary, your essential and your non-essential amino acids. Usually that's an animal-based protein spread throughout the day in 3 to 5 servings. Carbohydrates, as this slide here says, we want to have a full meal with lower GI, meaning slower digesting carbohydrates 4 to 6 hours before training, and then 30 to 50 grams of carbohydrates at a higher glycemic, faster digesting in that 30 to 60 minute window before training. Now, fat, because it does delay gastric emptying, meaning it slows down digestion, we want to keep away from that pre and post-workout window, just because that's when we want things to be digesting quickly, moving through our system a little bit quicker. Fiber does the same thing. So when you are choosing your carbohydrate sources around training, just be wary that you're not choosing overly fibrous carbohydrates. That will take your body significantly longer time to break down, digest, absorb, and be readily available for exercise. So let's say we have an athlete, a client, an individual who is training around 9 a.m., 10 a.m. They wake up at 7-ish, have some coffee, go for a walk, get situated. Then they want to make their breakfast. So in that breakfast, we want a nice combination of fats, carbohydrates, and protein. Good meal there would be eggs, oatmeal, and fruit. The oatmeal and fruit serving as your lower glycemic index carbohydrates, around 4 hours removed from training. Before training, we can go with a faster digesting carbohydrate like a plain bagel, essentially just white bread there, with a reduced fat cream cheese. Reduced fat, again, to keep fat away from that training window so that digestion doesn't get slowed down too much. Now, when we talk about intra-workout nutrition, we're really talking mainly about carbohydrate. To a certain extent, protein, some will say amino acids during training, but for the scope of this exam, we really just want you guys to know about carbohydrates during training, specifically this GES abbreviation that they use a lot. So GES stands for glucose-electrolyte solution. Just think about a sports drink, a Gatorade, a Powerade, a Pedialyte, something that has both glucose, fast digesting carbohydrates, sugar, and electrolytes built into it. These are only necessary, and I can almost guarantee you that there will be at least one question that mentions this on the exam. These are only necessary for training sessions that last greater than 60 minutes. So when your training session is longer than 60 minutes of continuous exercise, as in running on the treadmill for greater than 60 minutes, not lifting weights for 60 minutes where 45 minutes of that is you looking at your phone, only for continuous sessions longer than 60 minutes do we need to be ingesting a glucose-electrolyte solution to maintain performance throughout the session. If it's shorter than that, simply put, you don't need it. Just train and then focus on your post-workout nutrition, which they've outlined here. 50 to 100 grams of carbohydrates, 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein within that 30 to 60 minutes of training. Little bit of confusion around anabolic window. Do I really need to be getting those nutrients in right away after training? Probably not on the lifestyle side of things, but if you are working with athletes, if you're doing more on the sports nutrition side, where we're getting a larger amount of calories in over the course of the day and possibly doing multiple sessions throughout the day, this 30-60 minute window post-training becomes increasingly important. The last point to be made here is going to be a percentage split of macronutrients throughout the day. General recommendation across most of your certifying bodies, not just the ISSN, but the ACSM, NASM, ACE, ISSA, most of your certifying bodies will agree with these numbers here. 50 to 65% of total calories from carbohydrate, around 15% from protein, less than 30% from fat. Now, there are certain populations where this does work very well. For endurance athletes that maybe aren't super concerned with maximizing lean body mass, with muscle mass, with strength and power output, 15% of total calories from protein for an individual who is a lower body weight and doesn't have a ton of lean body mass to support, that can work. But for an athlete with a greater amount of lean body mass, maybe they're an American football player rather than a marathon runner, the percentage of calories from protein has to go up to support all of that additional lean body mass. And because those individuals aren't training with obscene volumes, I won't say obscene, but very, very high volumes like you would see in endurance sport, you can take some of those calories away from carbohydrates. So these numbers would work well in an endurance population, which is where the majority of your nutrition research is done in endurance athletes. But if you are working with a strength and power athlete, you're going to want to shift these numbers down around, maybe it's 45 to 50% of calories from carbohydrates, 20 to 25 from protein, 25 to 30 from fat. Now, your mileage will vary. Certain athletes have different food preferences, a lot of metabolic flexibility from one individual to the next. These are just a starting point that you should then customize based on the sport, the season, the athlete, the size of the athlete, what their goals are. Are they trying to lose body fat? Are they trying to gain muscle mass? Skew those numbers based on the athletic population, the training goal, and the current phase of training in terms of their total macro cycle for the year and what their training looks like in that moment. Nutrient timing for general population, one training session a day. Their goal is to build some muscle, lose some body fat. Really doesn't matter. Isn't something that you should concern your clients with too much. It's something that you can inform them on and talk about what we did in this slide right here. But I certainly wouldn't let them get overly wrapped up in the nuances of specific nutrient timing throughout their day. Just make sure their 24-hour intake looks good and matches with their goals. That wraps up nutrient timing. Hot topic, contentious issue. Who does it matter for? Who can get away with being a little bit more loosey-goosey with their nutrient timing? I hope this video cleared up some of those questions. We'll see you on the next one. In the meantime, stay gifted and click those links down below to learn more about our resources.